All right, welcome, Jason. And for those who may not be familiar with Deaf Missions, can you give us a quick overview of the history and purpose of your ministry?
Absolutely. I'd love to do that in a story. Is it all right if I tell a story about how we started?
Yeah.
You don't have a choice. I'm going to do it anyway.
All right.
We're a 52, almost 53-year-old organization, and years ago there was a guy named Dwayne King. Some of you may know Dwayne. I don't know. But Dwayne was a preacher in a small church in Iowa, not too far from here. And one Christmas season, the church decided that they were going to take up a love offering for a needy family in the community. Well, that needy family happened to be deaf. And so Dwayne got the check, and as he's driving over to their house, he's thinking, how on earth am I going to communicate with these people? They're deaf. And they opened the door, and this was Dwayne's strategy. Ready? Hi, my name... I don't recommend you talk to deaf people that way. They're not going to hear you anyway. She said, well, and she got a piece of paper, and they wrote back and forth, and she understood why it was there, and she was happy. And then Dwayne did something really brave. He wrote back on that piece of paper, would you be my guest in church next Sunday? And you know what she said? No. You don't know my language. You don't know anything about my culture. No, I won't understand anything. And that's when God showed up in our story, the story of Deaf Missions. And really what he said to Dwayne in that moment was, Dwayne, should the gospel be kept from this woman simply because she cannot hear? Will you do something? Dwayne decided yes. And this is what he wrote back, and this is crazy, but he said, if I learn some sign language, will you come to church? And she said, okay, and he did. He went out and he learned some sign language. I don't know how he did it 50-odd years ago when there was no YouTube. How this guy learned sign language, it really is miraculous. And he learned enough, and she started to come, and she started to bring more people with her. And then eventually Dwayne said, I need to leave this ministry and start this thing called Deaf Missions because there's a huge need. This is why it's so important that Dwayne started Deaf Missions all those years ago. Because of all the 70 million deaf people in the world, only 2% of them have any kind of a relationship with Jesus. That makes deaf people top 5 unreached people groups in the world. That's why our work is so important.
Well, that's pretty incredible. I know you have a video clip of the Jesus movie.
Yeah.
And so,
can I set that up real quick before we start playing it? This is our next project, and we'll talk about this a little bit more in a minute, but we're making a 90-minute full-length feature film about the life of Jesus. This is sort of, if anybody's seen The Chosen, this is sort of The Chosen for deaf people. Now, I want you to know we've added sound and closed captioning for the sign language impaired. Is this thing on?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, I want you to check this out. This is the trailer for our movie.
Right.
So what do you think? Let me teach you your first sign. Deaf people clap like this. If you're bilingual, you clap like this.
That really looks amazing. So tell us a little bit about your role, Jason.
My title is Chief Relationship Officer. Anybody know what that's code for? Fundraiser. So we'll probably talk about money here in a little bit. Now's your chance to get up and run. I saw there's a lot of good treats out there left. Actually, I get to go out and share our best story of impact with folks like you. I'm really here to say thank you today. This church has been supporting us for a long time, and it's because of your generosity that we get to do what we do. When you say yes to us, you say no to someone else, so thank you. We appreciate your sacrifice.
One thing that you guys have done at Deaf Missions, a few years ago, you completed the translation of the whole Bible, you may or may not know this, into American Sign Language, the ASLV Bible. And tell us just a little bit about that project.
Yeah, thank you. The ASLV is a 35-year-long project. What we did was we went from the original languages, Greek and Hebrew, to American Sign Language so that it is a real version of the Bible. We started off on VHS tapes. Anybody remember the VCR days? Yeah. And then we went to DVD. You know how you could tell a really spiritual deaf person in the 90s? They carried their TV and VCR to church with them with, man, this thing is not on. I'm telling you. Anyway, then we
See
moved.
what I have to deal with. I'm telling you, it's brutal.
We got the New Testament on DVD, and we sold 6,000 copies of that, and we were so excited. And then as time went on, we finished and put everything on an application on a smartphone so that deaf people could get it anywhere in the world that they wanted. And we decided at that point, we're not going to charge anymore. We're going to make this thing free. In the first year that we released it, we had over 1 million downloads of it. It just tells me that there are folks out there who are hungry, who are deaf, who want the Bible in their language. And so that was finished in 2020. The very first complete Bible for deaf people was finished in the year 2020. Anybody remember 2020? Yeah, deaf people were the only ones who had anything to celebrate that year. It was incredible, the very first Bible, and things are going to change.
And so if we want to access that, or if we have a deaf or hearing impaired person, we send them where?
You can go to the App Store and download the Deaf Bible app, or you can download the Deaf Missions app. I don't know where you people with Androids go. First, you'll need to meet Jesus. No, just kidding. It's in the Google Play Store as well, both of those apps. Share that with anybody you know. Get the app, get it today. It's all free content on there.
I really like you, Jason, but you've insulted my telephone twice now. So I don't know.
We're going to pray for Steve real quick here.
Yeah. The rest of the staff must have talked to you before you came in. So tell us about your vision over the next 5 or 10 years.
Yeah, great question. So you saw the movie, the 90-minute movie. What you may not know is that everyone in that film is deaf. The actors, the extras, the producer, the director. I said this first service, I can't guarantee the animals are deaf, but everyone else in that movie is deaf, and it's really been a fascinating project and process to watch. We have some huge goals associated with this movie. What we want, it's going to release in April 2024. We have a conference in Dallas. We're going to release that movie for the very first time, and then we're going to show that movie in large cities and in churches, and then eventually we're working with a streaming platform where deaf people can get that movie right to their smartphone and watch it with their friends at home. What we want is 1 million views first, and then at the end of the movie there will be a QR code where people can hold up their phone, and then it'll take them to a landing page or an app, and there'll be 4 or 5 choices that they can make. Things like, I want prayer, I want to start a group, I want to be baptized. You know, we don't want this to just be a thing out there. We want to start a movement with this. And then finally, one of our biggest goals is to start 1,000, we're calling them gospel groups, but they're really mini churches for deaf people by deaf people. In America today, there's only one church for every 22,000 deaf people. We don't have enough churches for deaf people. And so we're trying to get those put together right away, and we're even training some folks now to be leaders in Kentucky, and we're excited to see that project get going.
That's exciting, too. One last question. What can we do as individuals and as a congregation to support the work that's being done by you guys?
I thought you'd never ask. Here's your time to leave if you don't want to talk about money in church. We're asking churches, we need 10 sponsors in the next 6 months for churches to say, we'll give an extra $2,000 a year for 2 years to start a group. Groups will be about 10 people each. You're just not impacting 10 people, but you're impacting their families. So you're impacting 40 people. You're impacting their community, 300, 400 people with that donation. You can make a huge difference in the lives of deaf people around the world, especially right here in America. And then we're asking individuals if you would sponsor a leader of those groups. Groups just can't happen. We need people to be trained and developed and then lead groups through watching the movie and then taking them through the curriculum that we've also designed. To train a leader, we need about $1,000 per leader. So churches, if you would commit to an extra $2,000, you saying yes? Do we have this on camera?
I'm saying I hear you.
Oh.
I'm not on the missions committee. That's up to them, but yeah.
He did this last service. I don't know. I can't. Anyway, and then we're asking individuals to give $1,000 to train a leader. They're not paid. They're not professionals. But, man, they have an important job to communicate with deaf people. And so those are our needs.
Amen. Amen. Last thing here, and I challenge the first service with this. So if you would like to give to Deaf Missions, and today, I think we can give that $1,000. I don't know what they did in the first service, but that's okay. I think we can give that $1,000 in the combined congregation. You have an envelope in front of you that says giving, and I just encourage you, if you would like to be part of that $1,000 gift, that pull out that envelope. If you write a check, make it out to us. Antioch Christian Church will consolidate all of that and write you guys a check. If you give by cash and you would like to have that recorded in your giving statement at the end of the year, then there's a name and address information on that. Write somewhere on that giving envelope so we know it's for Deaf Missions. Just somewhere on there, write Deaf Missions. And then the offering receptacles in the back where you put your general offering, just drop that in there this morning. But I think that's exciting. That is really exciting. Yeah. Amen.
One last thing, if I may.
Yeah.
I didn't tell this to the first service, but the Jesus film to produce it was a $4.8 million project. Just a week ago, we received all of the funding to complete that. We were so excited. Everywhere I'm going now, and this is going to sound crazy, I need $1 million donor. No one fell out of their chair yet. All right. Are they out there? Yes. For the film, there's a little company, maybe they've come to Illinois, Hobby Lobby. Have you heard of these guys? They gave a $2.4 million matching gift for the production of the movie. I know such individuals are out there. What I've learned about God is this. When you ask little of God, he does little. When you ask a lot of God, he does more than you could ever dream or imagine. So if you'd like to be the $1 million donor, I had at least 5 of them come to me after last service. I have room for one more. Have room for one more if you know someone, or if you want to have a conversation about deaf ministry. Why? I'm sure some of you are wondering, well, why do they need a Bible in sign language? Why can't they just read the English Bible? I'll give you the answer out there. Any other question you have? Thank you so much for having me, Steve. I appreciate Antioch and what you do for us. Thank you.